Greetings, greetings, beautiful people. Ah, hot tea. Trying to get this some ginger tea because I'm get that throat shock ready. Set divine intentions for this message to reach the nations around the world. All beautiful souls that are guided here. You are loved. You are appreciated. Take a deep breath. This is the healing place. This is the shadow place. This is the light place. This is everything. Um, give honor to the ancestors known and unknown, uh, to Source for guiding me here and to be a vessel for uh, for us in these moments, a guiding light. um, it's gonna be all right. I just want to let you know that it's gonna be all right. It is written. Uh, I have been receiving a lot of, even as I walk or I'm. It's like ancestors speaking through me as I just like simply walk and just get clarity of just everything that's unfolding in these moments. Just know that even the things in our lives that it seems like it's being dismantled or falling apart, it has its purpose, as do you. I want to share with you, this is the focus is the healing that is happening and also the light that's being bestowed upon the earth or, Mother Gaia in these moments. Um, this is, I'm going to title this or say like the divine mirror. So I'm really, Spirit always guides me to speak about the matriarchal, which is consists of, the great grandmother, the grandmother, the daughter, which is a representation of the moon, the cycles, the divine feminine. So I want to share with you that to the mothers and guardians, the divine feminine is healing she is healing, or the divine feminine, which can be a representation of, the woman, the mother, things of this such. She is healing the divine masculine, which is a representation of the father, the grandfather, the uncles, that masculine figure that has been in their life. You are in these moments healing the inner wounds of these aspects, which is as you heal, or you're maybe having visions of, men, or it may be sitting around the father, the grandfather, so forth from, generations. That is an aspect of the divine masculine. And as you heal, you're healing that aspect of the divine masculine, which is you're healing the men in your lineage. And see, the healing it will be centered around, you know, could have been sexual abuse, molestation, sexual harassment, uh, traumas that has happened, anything connected to men per se, that have happened not only with your experience here, but with your experience with in relationships or in what we call past lives, meaning what was connected to you and the matriarchal, and that also being connected to the divine, which is divine feminine, which also what experience you have had with men, how in which again all that trauma and pain, or, sexual harassment, however your experience has been in the dark, is now being purged in the light. So, um, your deepest secrets, deepest fears of things that you have been, bottling and keeping bottled away, or, it's like things that have been pushed down, which, is centered around the womb, which I speak about how what we've all experienced has been passed through the matriarchal, or through the womb of the woman, through her tissues. And that's another thing. It's like when we look at the word tissues, um, things have been programmed, again, through DNA. Things have been programmed through our, pushed down in our bodies. This is another thing why we speak about the womb, and, certain things that when we are healing or going through ascension symptoms, and the body is changing and you're healing yourself, whether you're a mother or, the divine feminine aspect, you will experience certain ascension symptoms or pains in the certain areas I name as where we name as the chakras, which is the root chakra, the base, which is considered like the womb, the sacral chakra, which is a little above, in between, I think it's like the navel, but you can look that up. It's like the sacral chakra, but I know it's like somewhere right here with the navel. And both of these are, when we speak about chakras, it's like these are energies. And see, a lot of what we are experiencing or have experienced, women per se and men, but speaking more of the matriarchal, is that how the trauma has been passed through, and then these energies in our bodies have been it's like if you put, the force of anything, how a diamond comes to be, the force of something, the pressure has been passed through, or, these, you look at the word tissue, these issues have been passed through genetically, through generations, through our bodies. Again, so this pressure, or what we've experienced, are located in certain parts of the body energetically. This is why when you hear people that do Reiki, or energy workers, or, yoga instructors, or certain things that actually releases traumas that have been stored in the body, or certain energies that have been built up over time through the body, whether it be through the womb, certain parts of the body, where, again, through these healing processes and ascension processes, through this healing journey, we experience what we know as the ascension symptoms, which, when we face the shadow aspect of who we are, and learn about these childhood traumas or issues that have been energetically passed through from spirit to the physical, then we see why when certain cycles, or when we start to learn more about astrology, or certain things we get into depth about, certain pains can be felt in these moments, because of that's the healing that's taking place in the body. That is a release. This is why, like, for instance, if you could be feeling, very emotional, you could be feeling very aggressive, or, frustrated. These things are energetically connected to the body. This goes more into depth about, the spiritual body, the soul, the emotional body. And see, these things are also all connected to the physical. And see, this is what we're learning and getting more into depth about, into why we are the ones, again, here to help guide that healing, not only in our lineages, but for the mothers, the fathers, our sons, daughters. And so This is probably why a lot of you mothers are seeing, you know, your sons or certain things in your visions, because Spirit is showing you that in the divine masculine aspect and feminine is also energetically connected to why you were given your son, or why Spirit was given, you know, you were given a daughter or a son. Because your son, in a way, is that masculine aspect of your inner wounds. The sun shines light on everything that we want to hide. See, if you are a mother, the divine feminine is a representation of all things that are dark. You know, the secrets, the shadow, the cycles, as the moon has, is an aspect of who you are. So when a mother is given a son, he is a reflection or a representation of all things illuminated or shining bright, or to shine, you know, mirror back to you all inner wounds, to shine light on all things that are hidden in the dark. So that means he, the son, is a representation of all the men in your lineage. Your son, and see, this is what I've learned through healing with myself, is that I had to get to the awareness of why the women in my family had this perception, or this perception on men, which was a representation of their inner divine masculine, because they were disconnected from the divine feminine aspect of themselves. And we're talking about energies here. We have a divine feminine and masculine, which is the, like you see in the yin and yang aspect. They're not separate from each other. They are intertwined. They are together, one. And so me learning the aspect of what I've experienced with the women was a disconnect, or me not honoring or learning to reconnect. We're gonna get this out. Reconnect with the divine masculine, learning what it is to honor that. And see, this is for the matriarchal, the women. Like, your son is given to you to show you what it is to honor and heal the divine masculine within yourself. How do you see men? What is your perception on all men? And see, that's why the sun shines, is connected to the grandfather, the great-grandfather, you know, so forth. And then that in itself is probably why you're seeing a lot of stuff in the dream state, you know, spirit babies, visions of water, which represents, you know, could be cleansing or rebirth. And in the aspect of diving deep within yourself, the water represents, you know, again, we're birthed into water. Our bodies are made up of mostly water. So that, and it teaches us how we're learning to honor the elements within ourselves. And again, that is for the divine feminine. You're healing the divine masculine within yourself, which is a representation of, you know, your son, father, grandfather, is also showing you to face and embrace all those deep fears, all fears around men or the masculine. Same go for men. When me learning this, I had to face all fears, or learn what it is for me to get to this place to honor my masculine, to speak about this, to shed light, because speaking is, again, it comes from the darkness. But I had to speak about it, and see, I had to get past that fear of of unapologetically, or speaking what was given to me. So I realized even how we are given, sons and daughters is also a reflection of the divine feminine and masculine within ourselves. Such as if I was me giving a daughter, I had to honor and learn what it is to, and see, she's like an aspect of the moon. Well, again, when we look at the moon happens, everything's in cycles, but it's also everything that is hidden in the darkness. But at the same moment, everything that is hidden, again, as a representation of the light, as the man masculine, it was a mirror. I shine light, and then she was also mirrored back to me, as with my partner, or whomever I'm with, is a reflection of all things that are hidden, which is the moon. So she, like, again, I always used to tell myself, when Aaliyah arrived, it showed me, it triggered or awakened something within me, like all things, all emotions that I wanted to hide, uh, all things that, insecurities, basically all things that could no longer be hidden in the divine feminine aspect of who I am. And see, that represents the moon, that represents the darkness, all the things that when she arrived, she also mirrored to me, like, all the things in my childhood that I could no longer ignore. And see, when I honored that and faced that and accepted that, that allowed me to honor, to heal the divine feminine and release all resentment towards all women and all representation of the divine feminine. And see, this is the healing that's taking place when we're giving. Nothing is a mistake. Nothing has happened that wasn't divine order. So again, when the daughter, when she arrived, she is a representation of all matriarchals that has come and that will, that will be. Let me elaborate. Again, we share the aspect of how, matter of fact, let me speak about this. The man carries the seed, being the light, because, he carries the seed, the sperm, to, that enters the woman to create, that co-creates with the woman. Also, the woman carries the seed. So this is a representation that nothing is, that's the illusion of separation. So getting to how, Aaliyah being a representation of all, not only matriarchal, but in the aspect of honoring the feminine and the masculine. She, again, when her mother was carrying her, I say, okay, when her mother was carrying her, whatever her mother experienced through that, duration of our experience when I lived before she came here, she, say what, around, I say 3 months. Aaliyah, being, let's say, her mom is 3 or 4 months, and then Aaliyah has already had all of her eggs, meaning that whatever her mother is experiencing during this pregnancy, or this transition of how Aaliyah is going to come and enter this world, whatever her mother experienced, Aaliyah is also experiencing, and then the eggs within her are also experiencing. See, this is energetically. And so that being said, whenever Aaliyah arrives and how she arrived also plays a major part in what we come here to heal. And see, that, again, when her mother is pregnant, her mother is, again, that's Aaliyah's mother. But if Aaliyah already has her, her eggs, that also makes Aaliyah a mother in the womb. See how deep this goes? I know it's mind blowing. I'll be telling myself, like, y'all giving me this to share with people. No, the Spirit is giving this and bestowed this upon me so we can see what it is that we're actually embracing and facing in these present moments. So whatever, again, my partner and I experience is Aaliyah is experiencing. And so then when Aaliyah arrives, it's like all that is just no longer exists. Whatever happened in the past no longer exists. But yet and still, she is still in essence a reflection of my inner wounds that I can no longer ignore, as with her mother. See, she mirrored back to her mother to heal her divine feminine, all her inner wounds. So with me, she also mirrors back to me to heal the inner wounds that I have. See, when we are choosing to face and embrace, our own darkness and inner wounds, we are healing not only ourselves, we're healing the matriarchal. I realized I was healing the matriarchal of my family because I realized a lot of painful experiences and a lot of things that I experienced, a lot of the painful experience or traumatic experience were with women. And so Aaliyah being here, I realized, again, it's all in her name. Aaliyah is, to ascend, chosen by God or chosen by, source or, connected to the Most High. A lot of everything that is here everything is connected. And that's what I realized how important it was of the matriarchal that we're healing. Why Spirit has bestowed upon me, to see why a part of what I experienced in the dark was now to illuminate and express in the light. For me to honor the feminine aspect and release all resentment or release all grudges, release all things that have happened to me in the past, being connected to the grandmother I had, the mother, all the partners that I've had, relationships, all the way to Aaliyah. So for me to see the awareness on, okay, this narrative has to change with how I view and visualize not only myself, but with women and all women. And see, that's how deep this goes, even with a mother that has a son. He is going to mirror and shine light on all the things that you can no longer hide, your connection with men. This is why I realize certain connections in relationships, I see how over time how men can become overly sensitive, which is connected to the divine feminine, but it's a disconnect with the masculine aspect of who they are. This is what has happened in culture, where you see a power struggle between why women want to, it seems like the focus has been so independent, but in a sense of using their masculine and then using it to demasculate or to defeminize their selves. Yeah. Or to disconnect, because it shows a disconnect between who they are within. And so you see the power struggle on overusing, or you see the wounded feminine within themselves. And so they're using, this external thing as, I'm all right. Everything's all right externally. But you can feel as you become empathetic or more in tune with self, you realize the disconnect within yourself has to do with all relationships that you attract. Same with men, and that's why you see certain women, oh, he acting like this, he acting like a bitch, or he acting like a just by a man expressing himself could show to mirror. You'll see in relationships how him being emotionally available actually is mirrored back to the woman why she's emotionally unavailable, which is a sign of a wounded feminine. And see, I'm telling you, it works both. It works hand in hand. And see, when we learn that these are energies at play and learn to balance and become neutral, we'll realize that yin and yang, or light and dark, is also an aspect of being whole. And see, the world people have been caught up in these illusions of, oh, it's just light. Let me just show you the external about who I am. Let me show you what it is externally that I can show you that I'm okay. Let me show you externally through materialism, through all these things that you see on the outside, that I'm okay. Men and women. But then they internalize everything and keep it bottled up. It's like a volcano, wait to explode. This is what you're seeing betrayed in the world. This is why I realized, even growing up in my experience, I see why the mother I came through, would speak to me that way. Because it was a disconnect with her and the father that she had. She was hurting. She didn't know why. Same thing with, the men I would see. They were hurting. They didn't know why. They don't know what it was to love themselves and actually face these things. And deciding to heal those things, and deciding to choose, a way of, what it is to actually honor their emotions, honor the way they feel when they've been showing externally, women and men, to express themselves. See, the confusion has been on expressing, oh, I'm going to show you I'm okay, express these things to where I have all this, I have all these things, but deep within myself, I'm fucked up. I'm really, this is what's happening. I'm really ugly inside, but I don't want to show you that part of me, because if I show you that I'm vulnerable, or if I show you this, then what I've experienced in past relationships, or what I saw and visualized in how my mother got beaten, or how my mother got, mishandled by all men that I saw. I don't want to be vulnerable. Maybe I don't know how it is to be vulnerable. See, the world is hurting. The world is in a very vulnerable place right now. But they don't realize that these connections and all these things you're attracting are purposeful when you accept and surrender to that. This is why all these things in these, we are reevaluating everything in these moments. Reevaluating the connections that we have with family, friends, and all these things. We are reevaluating and, putting our ducks in a row, or learning, oh, you know what? Why I don't need to hide anymore. Because once I accept me as who I'm supposed to be, and I love me, I'm no longer going to seek out what needs to accept me, or validate me, or appreciate me. I've given it to myself. I don't need my child. And see, this is a lot of things that are connected to the trauma bonding that is, I've realized over time, that has been created through connections with father and daughter, or connections with parents. Is that it's a trauma bonding that has been connected, that we are unveiling and releasing. See, that trauma bonding has passed to your children. Yes. Because if mom and dad didn't show you what it was to heal yourself, see, that trauma bonding unconsciously has been passed, but it's been subconsciously from parents in your, program through you, but you're unconsciously seeing it displayed in the world. The disconnect with people just being on their phone, but there's no emotional connection. There is no spiritual connection. There is no genuine connection there. Oh, let me just give you these things because when I've experienced this, my mom and dad gave me this, and not realizing that's trauma bonding, because you're showing your child, you're showing this person in connections or relationships, you're showing them your love language, or you're showing them unconsciously teaching them what it is and how to love you. Yes. And so who's the blame? Who's the finger to point at? To why it is this person isn't loving you enough, or you're not feeling loved enough when you've already been enough, my love. You are enough. See, mom and dad didn't tell you that, but you've already been enough. See, mom and dad and them didn't know what it is to be enough. This is why they're still seeking out love, seeking out drugs, seeking out anything that can make them feel whole, that can make them feel accepted, that can make them feel validated, that can make them feel like they are somebody. In this world, everyone is trying to seek out and fulfill what it is to be, how to be, what to be in this world. Because some of them in all of their lives, they only know what it is to be a villain. See, we no longer are going to create being a villain in your daughter's and son's life. Again, when you're teaching them, to be loved by TikTok, be loved by social media platforms, to be loved by money, to be loved again, and then when they get in these connections, when they grow, that's their love language. When my mom showed me that if I don't have this and get this and receive this, then I cannot be loved. When love is not something that is really, in the Creator, we are an expression of love internally. But we have to see that within ourselves. This is why the world is going through what it's going to. Because the world in America and all over the world and globally everywhere has internalized everything. Man has shown you what it is to, this is human love. Robotic love is to be accepted by a device. To be accepted by certain things, again, that is keeping you away from the connection with self. See, the connection with self will show you that everything externally you are connected to. That's what the divine teaches us. That's what the divine feminine and masculine is all about. It's showing you that everything internally is an external. It's what is being mirrored back to you, what is happening within you. Our men learning what it is to honor their masculine so they can be a leader in their families, in their tribes, be a leader in their life, know what it is to be a leader. See, some of us we don't know what a leader is. Some of our mothers and, the women or young women, we need to show them what it is to be a leader, to be self-sufficient, to honor, to walk in that integrity. Teaching them what it is to, integrity, your character is just as important when that phone is off, when that phone is not in your hand. Who are you behind closed doors? What is your integrity when you walk out that door? Teaching your children, like, okay, you're showing them this is what love is, but then when they walk out that door and see someone on the street, what difference is that? They may not have a phone on the street. They don't care about those likes on the street. People that are this close to being on the street, they don't know how their rent is going to get paid. But the Creator, source has showed us, like, look, worry not. Be not conformed to this world. And see, that's what a lot of us are coming out of. We're unlearning and also relearning, reteaching ourselves, reanalyzing, reevaluating everything in our lives. We are all at that place. Some of us are all at that place. Some of us are at different phases because we're learning what it is. We're teaching ourselves again we're not only reteaching ourselves, as what we're unlearning, we are also sharing with others. Some of us as guardians and parents, we are unlearning generational trauma. We are unlearning trauma bonding. We are unlearning and releasing all the things that we feared in the process of loving ourselves, helping others, trying to take care of our kids, take care of ourselves. I don't care what book you've read. Are they showing you, teaching you what it is to love yourself, what it is to honor who you are? I saw something today that said love is like a river. When we come together, it flows forever. The fear, all these things is, these holidays is fear of what? Not being accepted. When that happens internally. School and all these things,